This is Luke, Her Power Academy's mindset coach, and today I want to talk about the fear of making mistakes. And this is a very, very common fear I see in young athletes that I work with. They feel like that if they make mistakes, they'll be judged by others. If they make a mistake, they'll let the whole team down. And I first just want to say that this is a very common fear. And in fact, if you do feel alone in this fear, I can pretty much bet that several of the players within your team experience this too, and many of the players that you play against experience it as well. So you're not alone, you're not weird, you're not different. It's a very common fear, and in fact, it's a very admirable fear because a lot of people are out there making excuses and blaming others. And if you have this fear, you're actually taking on an incredible amount of responsibility. You're actually taking on more responsibility than you can really, that's really possible. Because see, as human beings, we're all fallible. We all are mistake-making machines, and that's a part of life. And that's a part of the progress of life, is making mistakes. And that's what I want to jump into now. So the top 3 tips for overcoming the fear of making mistakes. 1, so understanding that mistakes are a very normal part of progress and they're a normal part of life, okay? I often ask this question to the girls that, and athletes that I'm coaching that have this fear. I ask them, do the best players in the world, do they make mistakes? And I guess I'll ask you this now. Do the best players in the world make mistakes? Of course they do, right? So the best players in the world are allowed to make mistakes, but you're not allowed to make mistakes? It seems a bit unfair, right? So you can see even the best in the world still make mistakes. And you're putting the pressure on yourself not to make mistakes, okay? So it's a normal part of progress. So number 2, change the meaning that you give to what a mistake is, okay? So one way to do this is to recognize that mistakes aren't a bad thing. Mistakes are actually information. So every time you make a mistake, if you get non-judgmentally curious about that mistake, about why you made that mistake, don't bring judgment to it. Just be non-judgmentally curious. Why did I make that mistake? What you'll find is in every single mistake, there's a lesson. And if you find that lesson, you actually find a little piece of gold that goes towards your progress. Now, if every time you make a mistake, you get angry at yourself, and you get down on yourself, you're not using that time, 1, to learn the lesson that is within that mistake, and 2, any form of self-reflected anger is not helpful, okay? It doesn't help the situation. For some reason, we're all caught up in, I need to punish myself if I didn't do it right. I need to reject myself. That is never the helpful option, okay? So the helpful option to a normal mistake that everyone makes, the helpful option is, what can I learn from that mistake? Or I passed that ball terribly, for example. Okay, cool. I wasn't in position. My feet weren't in position. Cool. Next time, I'm going to do my best to put it in position. Great. I learned the lesson. And now what's next? What's next? Move forward. What's next? That's Jen's favorite tool. What's next tool? Leave the past in the past. Take the lesson, discard the rest. What's next? When you do that consistently, you're taking a lesson from every single mistake. Think about how far ahead you'll be in a year's time after you learn from every single mistake. When you get non-judgmentally curious and you look for the little piece of gold in that mistake, and you find that piece of gold, take it and discard the rest. Leave it in the past where it is. And then move forward, focus forward. So number 3, I want to ask you a question for this one. Do you do your best every single game? And not do your best, do you try your best every single game? Okay, do you go out there and just give your best effort? Okay, every single young athlete I've spoken to has answered yes to this question. Okay, so if you answered yes, you do try your best, then you can relax, because you gotta understand, we cannot do better than our best, okay? Sure, you might have had better games, but ultimately, if you tried your best, that was your best on that day. So if you can't do better than your best, then your best is what you did. So just focus on doing your best every game, learning from every game, and your best will get better. Okay, so getting angry at yourself for making mistakes, getting angry at yourself for not being the best every single game you play, that is not a sustainable option. That is not a sustainable way to enjoy the journey of progress, enjoy the journey of life. So if you're wanting to master the sport of soccer or anything in life, you have to be in it for the long term. And that's why sustainability is so important. So if you're getting angry at yourself for every single mistake, for every single little thing along the journey, it will become too much. And in fact, I know I've worked recently with a really high level young soccer player. She's, I think, one of the best in the country here in the USA. And she wanted to give up only a few weeks ago because she had so much pressure on herself to be perfect. And just by moving through that, we released that pressure and she can enjoy the game again. And now this young girl can continue to play and continue to master the craft of soccer. And, you know, who knows what she'll become in the future. So I hope you enjoyed them 3 tips to overcoming the fear of mistakes. I will see you in the next video.